Good morning, folks, and welcome to another weekly edition of the Precious Metals News. We have two things on the cover this week. We have Lion One Metals, which I believe is a value play, and then we have interest rates, which obviously they continue to be the story of the day. It's interesting to look at a chart like this. From a trader perspective, this is clearly a stock in a downtrend, and so the most successful traders trade with the trend instead of against it. And so to take a long position in a stock in a downtrend, that's a counter trend trade. But then we also have to think about value investing. Well, what does it mean to be a value investor? And in my mind, it means looking for stocks that are beaten down for whatever reason. In the case of Lion One Metals, it's simple investor boredom. This is an emerging producer stock. They will be producing gold in early 2022 on their current path, and they're fully funded to reach that goal. Investors don't like to wait. They want the get rich now plan, and waiting for this company to become a producer in 2022, that's not part of getting rich quick. What we see is that on Wednesday last week, we got a capitulation. Price dropped decisively below the support level and did so on high volume. This is investors puking their shares into the marketplace and taking whatever price they can get. And we can see that happened on high volume, that classic signs of a capitulation. That's a good thing. Capitulation sell-offs tend to mark the end of downtrends, and having that occur at a support level is a good thing as well. And so we see price rebounding from that level and leaving a long lower tail, which is bullish. And of course now has to deal with resistance at the 20-day moving average and the $1 round level. What I find interesting about Lion One is that they control this entire caldera. The current project that they're focused on is this little rectangle inside their overall land package. And it's very unusual for a junior miner like Lion One to control a land package like this that apparently encompasses an entire alkaline gold system. And the major gold producers, they favor these alkaline gold systems because they're big and they're high grade. And so it's unique that Lion One has a hold of this resource. Let's look at, and this is from their company presentation. So in this area, they're mining in Fiji. And so this area where they're mining hosts a number of alkaline gold systems, and we can see that they're large, 25 million ounces, 40 million ounces, 11. These are big deposits. And so no reason to think that Lion One isn't onto that scale of a deposit with their resource there in Fiji. So gold did well last week. It was looking pretty bearish down here as price was probing towards the bottom of the correction channel, but then strong buying came in off of that level and price continued higher. On Friday, we got a nice bullish candlestick with that long lower tail. We're at an extremely oversold level. So reaching what could be support down at the bottom of the channel, at the same time, we're reaching this level of oversoldness. It's a bullish thing in my mind. We ought to see at least a relief rally, if not a new uptrend, multi-month uptrend. Silver's looking good. It found support at this sliding parallel to the Andrews pitchfork, got a strong rebound off of that level, and then ran into resistance at the 50-day moving average. We're seeing price deal with that resistance, and then also with the $26 level. On this downtrend, 26 served as support several times. 26 held as support in here, and now price is having to deal with 26 as a resistance level along with the moving averages. But again, silver's looking just fine. Miners, they appear to have bottomed and gapped off of that support and now are dealing with the next resistance level. And so there's a fair amount of resistance in here that will have to be overcome. We've got some nice buying volume, and MACD gave us a new buy signal at the end of the week, last week. So mining stocks are looking good. SIL, same thing. Volume is a little bit low here. I'd like to see more volume as this, I'm assuming this is a new uptrend. I'd like to see some more volume come in SIL. The dollar last week rallied and then pulled back. Looking here in the weekly time frame, it appears that we've just got a minor pullback before this uptrend continues. Nothing here to suggest that the dollar is done in its upward movement in this weekly time frame. We have a potential price magnet at the intersection of these two pitchforks, the median lines of the two pitchforks, and then it's also occurring in the confluence of a resistance zone with this horizontal support resistance level and the 40-week moving average. So interesting to see what price wants to do, or the US dollar wants to do, in regards to that resistance level. The point there is that these price magnets often attract price. Obviously, that's why they're called magnets. So we'll see if the dollar gets sucked up into, this is about 93, gets pulled up into this 93 level. Here in the daily time frame, we can see that the dollar pulled back and found support in another, this is another intersection of median lines from two pitchforks. And so they often act as price magnets, as we see here. And again, we have a confluence of resistance up here in the 93 area. It will be interesting to see if the dollar can run back higher. So interest rates, in the weekly time frame, we see interest rates, they just continue pushing higher. Nothing in this chart to suggest that this uptrend is ending. I suspect that we're running into some resistance here at this level. Once TNX overcomes that resistance, it's pretty clear sailing on up to 2%. In the daily time frame, I moved our target up a little bit. Last week we were at 175, about there. Well, as time moves on, we keep sliding our target higher. And so this week that target is 1.8%. And again, this is a strong uptrend. Friday morning we had a gap. That's a 4% gap on the open. And then by the close, that's a overall 7% higher on the day. So investors took interest rates in the 10-year note 7% higher Friday. This is down at the 1 hour time frame of TNX. And so this is the open on Friday. You can see that's a 4% gap higher on the open, and then just a steady march higher throughout the session. Despite rising interest rates, the equity markets put in a strong showing last week. This is the weekly time frame. Don't pay attention to the label. This is the weekly time frame of SPX. I wanted to point out that doji candlestick that we got on the week prior to last. That's a very bullish, or potentially bullish, candlestick. Let's go back to the daily time frame. Last week, the SPX pushed back up into the mini channel and then continued higher. So Thursday and Friday, back up into this mini channel, apparently wanting to move higher. We got a new MACD buy signal, and MACD remains in bull mode, where both indicator lines are above the zero level, suggesting that the primary trend is up. Let's look at the Dow in the daily time frame. So we had a powerful breakout last week in the Dow. So not only did it push up to the top of its price channel, it broke through and then followed through on Friday. Very strong follow through above this channel. And so very nice breakout there in the Dow if you're equity bull. And again, MACD's in bull mode with a new buy signal last week. Energy is elevated. Nasdaq struggled some last week and reached, this is Thursday, reached an obvious resistance level at the two moving moving averages and then the upper median line of that modified shift pitchfork. And it's pulling back a little bit, but MACD hinting at a buy signal and energy rising. So Nasdaq not looking too bad. I suspect that Brent is dealing with round number resistance at the $70 level. Ran into the top of the channel and is just bumping along sideways. Indication of the strength in this market is the sideways bump instead of a pullback. So I suspect that we'll bump along below 70 before oil pushes on higher. Energy is obviously elevated, and nothing in this chart to suggest that we're not going to see higher prices here. That's all we've got this week, folks, and I am going to end it here. Have a fantastic week, and I look forward to speaking with you again.